I made a mod for the game Defcon Everybody Dies. I'm also running the deterrence mod, which is what all those lines are in these geo satellites and different kind of nuke. Things launch faster. But there's the map. The white line is the travel nodes. The dots, the red and green, are the AI markers, and that's the America map. That's what those geosat mods do with deterrence and population. So I'm going to show you how to do cities, coastlines, borders, everything to make your own map. So this is the America map, first one I've ever made. There it is. You can see the AI markers if you go to preferences and change show travel nodes and markers from 0 to 1 and save that document. This is how the mod is laid out. You've got your Windows C drive for your Windows 10 computer. Then you go to Program Files, a folder within your Windows drive. Then you go to your Defcon folder. Then, if you have mods, you go to your mod folder. And all the mods are all laid out the same. Just depends how much stuff is within each mod. So, you can see in that picture, the first I showed is I'm running a stick figure mod. That's just a graphics mod. This is a map mod. So this top picture that says screenshot, that's what you see when you select the mod from the mod menu. It's the picture in the upper right corner. But when you go into launching the mod, when it comes to selecting the territory for each player or selecting for the AI, that comes from the map image, which is in the graphics folder. Blue image says map at the bottom here. The only two in this graphics folder that change the way the map actually looks is the blur and the water shaded. These other ones don't do anything. They're for the game. But for graphics for your map, you're going to want to change the blur and the water shaded. And I show the difference between the blur that I'm using with the water and then just what a black image with a gray America map looks like. And then you can change the water. When you're changing water, there's three settings. There's normal, shaded, and what's the other one? I forget the name of the other one. But you can adjust those in-game. When it comes to laying out the world map, the territories, you have to create different regions. There's 6 of them. There's Africa, Europe, North America, Russia, South America, and South Asia. So you've got to create one map and then break them all off into separate pieces and save each as their own image. And each one has to have this gray area where you place ships at the beginning. Now, one place where you could get messed up is your AI markers and your travel nodes. The AI markers, that's the red and green dots you see. Those have to be within the gray for each territory. If it's not within the gray, then the AI won't launch any ships. So you could create a mod where you're the only person that uses ships, or you in another territory, but 4 other territories don't even launch ships. And other weird things can happen, like it'll launch ships, but no ships will move. So you're just stationary. Or I had it happen once where it launched a ship, but it wouldn't move until it was attacked, which might have just been the way it was. The AI didn't want to move, and then I attacked it so it moved. So I'm not 100% on that. But it will do it so you can't move ships, and so territories won't launch ships. So if you want to do that, you just move an AI marker out of the gray. Alright, the next biggest problem to making your own map is the travel nodes. There should be 22 of them. You could do it with less, but there should be 22. And the thing about the travel nodes is they can't cross land anywhere. If it crosses land, the game, if you try to launch it, will say that there's a travel node problem, there's a mismatch. It'll give an error pop-up screen. And it could crash the entire game, so you got to reboot it up again. It's not a big problem, it's just it freezes up and then it closes the application itself. You got to relaunch it. Now, a problem that you could encounter is it won't let you relaunch it, which means you need to go into your Windows C program files, to the Defcon, to the mods folder, and you need to remove the mod. Just drag and drop it on your desktop. I've had that happen like twice, because I was trying to fix the coastlines and I did it wrong. So I was trying to read the file and it wouldn't launch the game. I was clicking Defcon, 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 and it wouldn't launch it. So there's a variety of problems that can occur, but you run into the problem, you just drag and drop that map folder, America, map out, or whatever you're calling it, out of your mods folder, and then the game will work. So the travel nodes, the other problem with the travel nodes is they're an 800 by 400 image. All the other ones are 512 by 285. So you're trying to line up 22 nodes with lines that don't cross land in an image that's 800 high by 400 wide, with an image that's 512 high by 285 wide. And it's difficult to do without error. So you could try small in a small area and just launch single player and see if your ships will move and then move on from there. It's one way to do it. I just circled my map and it seems to work. As you can see from the white line. One time I launched it and it just had a white line across the bottom instead of being a rectangle or square. So travel nodes is incredibly difficult to figure out, but that's pretty much all you got to do is figure that out, the travel nodes. Everything else is just some graphic work. A problem I encountered with the graphics is my map used to be bigger, my America map, and then I was having trouble with the travel nodes. So ships wouldn't go up to the top of America and go across. They would only go up into the corners. So I shrunk the map and that solved the problem. So for some reason that 800 by 400 travel nodes and the 512 by 285 images, there's some sort of problem where the top of the map, or maybe even the bottom of the map, is like non-existent, even though it appears to be. In game, you can't get there. So I haven't figured out the trick for that yet. I had to shrink my map to figure it out. If you play the yin yang map, it's very small. Maybe that guy had the same idea or the same problem. So I don't know how to fix that at the moment, but what I did figure is if you enlarge an image to a 512 by 285 to 850, you can then fit the travel nodes over the image. So one of the images is 512 by 285. Increase the size of it to 850 by 400, and then put the travel nodes, which is 800 by 400, over that, and they will line up perfectly. So it's something about that extra 25 on top and bottom to get it to line up. I'm not 100% on that. I shrunk my map down, so I sort of gave up on that and I got it working. Another problem with the travel nodes and the borders and the coastlines and the sailable image is the ships will cross land. They'll do it. You'll see a little boat go across the land. When I was first making the map, I had ships just sailing right across Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, like it wasn't even there. I haven't figured out why that's happening, but I fixed the AI markers in the travel nodes in it, and it stopped happening. So I don't know how they're crossing sailable. It doesn't appear to be blocking anything, but I had other issues going on at the time. So you can change your sailable like I did to enlarge the corners, and the ships won't go across it. They'll just be right at the border if you figure it out. But what happened was, because of the way I had my travel nodes laid out, maybe, the ships were going from California all the way up to like towards Alaska before they would go over across the top of Oregon. And they weren't doing that so much before, because I played it like 2 or 3 times to try to figure that one out. So as you change sailable to make ships not cross land, you've then got to figure out if the nodes are actually working correctly, because you want your ship to go straight up California, straight up to Oregon and around. You don't want your ship to go from California to Alaska. So I haven't figured that one out either. I'll make another video when I figure all this stuff out. But it's enough to get you going, to get your map going. Come back and let me know if you figured it out. So all I know in conclusion is change preferences from show travel nodes equal 0 to show travel nodes equal 1, and that will make your travel nodes and your AI markers show up. If you don't have AI markers within the launchable area for ships, the territory won't launch ships. You got to have 22 travel nodes. That's how many the original game had. You could do it with less. And none of the travel node lines can cross land. There's some sort of issue with the 800 by 400 and the 512 by 285. If you make it 850 by 400, you could line it up, but I still don't know what's going on with the top and bottom of the map. And ships cross land based on your sailable. It's not territory, it's the sailable. Territory is an image in the graphics folder. So that's all I know from trying to make my first map here. When it comes to cities and borders and coastlines, the low coastline data, I have no idea what that does. I just leave it blank, or you could also just copy your coastlines The Xander's Modsuite, there's two of them. There's a version 1 and a version 11. I used version 1. In the bottom of the .dat folders, I was running into a problem where there was no B at the end. There has to be a B at the start and at the end. If there's no B, the game won't launch. That's why Defcon was not launching, or it launched but it wasn't launching the map. It's crashing. So those 3 documents in the Earth folder, Defcon mods, your map, the data folder, then the Earth folder, there's cities.dat, coastlines.dat, and international.dat. The international is borders, and you could turn those on and off in game. So that's all visual. You don't even need to do that. It's all just visual. You could leave it blank, the entire document. If your cities are out of your territory, it's going to cause a problem. So don't just go grab someone else's city doc and drop it on yours, because your cities can't be in the ocean. So you can manipulate these documents without using the mod, the Xander's Modsuite, but it's pretty difficult to do, because you'd have to know, your X, Y's, and Z's, and like graphing. If say Oregon, it's like a positive and a positive up in the top left of a graph, and then New York would be like a positive and a negative on the other side of the graph, with a line in the middle and a line across in the middle, up and down in the middle, across in the middle. You got positive, 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 negative, right? As you go up, it's positive. As you go down, it's negative. As you go left, it's positive. As you go right, it's negative. So all the cities are laid out with that graph where it's positive, positive, or positive, negative, or negative, positive, negative, negative. So when you look at the cities document, that's what it shows. These numbers. For instance, I'll open up a coastline thing here, and you can open these with Notepad. Just right click, open with Notepad. So for instance, the first one in my cities.dat folder or document says B, next line 0, space 0, next line B, next line 0, space 0, next line is negative 85.48. So it's a negative positive, which would put it, that'd be Florida. The next one's negative 79.49. Again, Florida, Georgia maybe, since it's, and then 11, negative 22, 8, negative 23. So you could plot all these out on just a simple graph and put your own numbers in for coastlines. You could do the same for your international if you want to use borders, but each one of those has to start and end with a B. So at the very bottom there has to be a B, and then the next line has to say end. Now interestingly, I think it's the AceCon mod, the end of his international doc just says B space end. They're not on two separate lines. So I don't know why it's working for his and it's not working for this one. And then cities, same idea. You got your city name first, space, 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 and then you've got your country name, space, 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 and then the first one is city is Washington, country is USA West, and then it's negative 80.40. Then the final thing is population. Now it does ask in the mods, or in the mod suite, if it's a capital city or not. If you select it's a capital city, it changes its status in game. So if you select to show cities and country names, since it's a capital, it will always have the country name over the city name if it's the capital. So if you turn off country names but leave city names, the capital will still have the country name over it. So if you select two cities to be the capital, you'll see the country name twice. So in the cities.dat document, you got, for this one, it's Washington, USA West, -80, 40, and then a population numbers is 2222, and then 1, because it's capital. It's not capital, it's 0. And then you could do that as many times as you want. The game, depending on the population, if it's default or if you do big world or if you increase population or decrease population size, will adjust these numbers. So I was also reading the forum about this. You don't want to really spend your time being like, oh, well, New York has 8 million people in it, so I'm going to set it to be 8 million. Like, the game is going to skew those numbers, so that's not something you really want to spend your time doing to be super duper accurate. So that's the cities.dat document. You can open that in Notepad. If you right click on it, go open with in Windows 10, select Notepad. You could also open it in WordPad. The best thing you could do is get someone else's mod and then work off that if you don't have the mod suite. And you could find out what cities are sitting in the ocean and just go back and delete that city. Create your own graph, figure out where these numbers are at. So yeah, I recommend you get Photoshop. You can do some of this stuff in Paint. You can do it in Paint. You could save as a BMP picture, which all these files are saved as BMPs. You go up to File, go down to Save As, hover over it, and the first one on the right is BMP picture. And this is where you can select the amount of bits, and it says 24 by default, so it'll save it as 24. But some of them are only 8-bit or 4-bit. There was one or two that were like 4-bit. So that's what you want the Photoshop for. You can also download GIMP, G-I-M-P, which is a free software editor. Because what you can do in GIMP and Photoshop that you can't do in Paint is you could put one layer over another layer. Change the opacity so you can see through one layer to the next one. And this is going to help you when you do your territories and your travel nodes and your AI markers. And that's just something that you can't really do in Paint. MS Paint for Windows. So that's everything that I've been able to figure out. And then you've got your, when you're all done, you create a document called mod within your mod folder. So it'll be data folder, mod document, and then screenshot. And on that you put name, version, author, and comment, and that will show up in game when you select to start the mod. I do not know why it turns red. There must be some sort of qualifying factor. It's like, okay, you've got all these different files, therefore it's a map mod, therefore it's going to be red in the mod loader. I don't know. I didn't change anything or create any documents that say this is the This is a map, so make it red in the mod selection. You can set game preferences. It's called the game options. You drop that into the mod folder with data, mod, screenshot, and then game options. And there you can set if you want it to be 3 players at the beginning, or you want it to be diplomacy as a default. You could drop a README file in there. Alright, so this is Xander's Modsuite Beta 1. It's Modsuite 1. The other one's Modsuite Beta 11. If you go to the README doc, it has the instructions. Very simple. You press tab to change between coastlines, borders, and cities. The left mouse button starts a line. The right stops. You can use WASD to move up, down, left, right. And the Q zooms in and the E zooms out. So, the other thing you need to know is that you're going to need the blur document image in the data and then the Earth folder. It has to be titled blur. And you get that map from the map image. You have to change the map image to read blur. It will create the cities and the coastlines and the international. You could just leave them as blanks because it'll go and search the Defcon folder to find these. I don't know if that's going to create a problem or not. I thought maybe it did. But anyways, this is the Modsuite Beta 1. Q to zoom in, there's my city. WASB. Right? Those are the borders, the coastlines. Something's wrong with the coastline doc. I didn't mention that in the video thus far. You'll notice there were no coastlines. So zoom out with E. Okay. So as soon as you start doing something, it copies it into those documents. If you're on coastlines, as soon as you do something, it goes to coastlines. So this is just now created a B, numbers, 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 right? And then you press right mouse button and it stops. Press tab to do borders. Borders is green. Border, 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 right mouse click. And you want to place cities, you press tab, city, city name, gameplay twist, press enter, country, let's call it USA, population 1 billion people, capital, is it capital, yes or no, enter, done. So where is it? There it is. Put another one right there. Name. Game is Defcon. Country is USA. USA. Population 3. Capital. No. Done. Next city. Gameplay. Defcon. Map. Country is YouTube. Population 5,000. Capital, yes. Done. So that's all there is to the Modsuite. Cities, borders, and coastlines. Coastlines and borders is just graphics. You don't even need it. you could turn borders on and off in game. When you're done, you just close out. So let's see. Alright, it's not a good example. Let's go see what coastlines look like, because I can't pick out from international. There it is. I guess that's the new stuff. It's right here. Because it should have ended there. So that's all new. And then let's see what cities looks like. And there it is. Gameplay twist USA, 1 billion people. Both capitals. I'll put a link in the description where to get Xander's Modsuite Beta 1 and 11. They're both at the same place called Web Archive. If it's not there, I have no idea where you're going to get it from. The Introversion website used to list it to a Xander's website. Doesn't exist anymore. A bunch of the websites with mods don't exist. I'll put a link for where to get airplane mods from the Introversion forum website, which do exist. But pretty much none of the mods you're going to find on the Introversion Defcon How to Mod website forums exist anymore. Another thing about modding is you can change the ocean color and the map color by yourself without having to go get mods. You just go into the options and you just start messing around with the colors. It's called the styles, and it saves it as a document called styles. It's like the README document or cities document. It's all just numbers, and it's laid out in a specific way. I put a video together of all those that are available on Web Archive. Some are too bright, but the blue that you see earlier was just me changing the color just to blue, the water to blue. And that updated the style. So I need to find the default to change the default colors back. Or I just reset the default, but anyways. So when you get a whole map together, you can put in your own planes, your own ships, your own sounds, your own styles. You could literally change everything graphical in here. And then you could, if you were like a real hacker type modder person, you could create something like the deterrence mod. Or you could limit the amount of playable areas and change the, so it's all in there, and that's all I know. If you've got any questions, try to figure it out yourself. From what I've said, take some notes, because I really don't know anything more than what I've said. So good luck. If you are using Photoshop and you open some of these images, and in the right it says it's an index with a lock on it, and you can't do anything to it. Like if you want to put one layer over another layer, what you need to do is go up to the top to image and change the mode to RGB from indexed color. And once you changed it to RGB color, you can then make it not a background, just double click background, and that'll change it so that you can move the layers around, move stuff onto it. You can do it when it's a background too, move stuff, but I think then you want to change it back to index. I had some images that were like that. So other than that, I don't know what other, the bit depth of the images that all be in a map mod you're gonna have to download somewhere. I might post a picture here at the end. I'll post a picture of that, how to change it from background to index. You can still download a demo for Defcon on the Introversion website, so you can tell your friend and play with your friend online. The deterrence mod is literally a replacement of Defcon. You can actually buy the source code. If you contact Introversion, it's like $40. You could get the source code. They gave it away with the Humble Bundle. So you went to Humble Bundle, you bought the bundle, you got the game, and you got the source code. This was just 2018, so you can still get it. 2019. So the deterrence mod is a complete replacement. I don't really recommend it if you don't have a strong computer, because it was a problem trying to run Big World back in the day with computers. So deterrence mod is like Big World times 10, because there's just massive amounts of nukes flying everywhere. And if you're doing Big World, there's a massive amount of ships and other units, planes flying around. So you're going to want to not get the deterrence mod if you don't have a strong PC. And you can get the source code, and you can get the demo for free still. And you can mod the demo too. You just go to your C drive, program files, Defcon, and then there's a mod folder. Create a mod folder. Put a picture of how that flows too. And you can get it for Linux also.